Well, Infosys has announced its largest ever buyback of 18,000 crore rupees. But what should investors do at this moment? Firstly, to go across that, let's understand few details of this buyback. The company is looking to buy back shares at a price of around 1800 rupees, which is at a premium of nearly 19% compared to yesterday's closing price. The buyback amount is, as I mentioned, the largest ever at around 18,000 crore rupees, and the company is looking to do a buyback of double the amount that they did in the previous two occasions. In the previous two occasions, the buyback amount was anywhere between 9,200 to 9,300 crore rupees. The record date is yet to be announced, and the buyback size is nearly 2.4% of the total equity, which is not the largest ever because back in 2017 the company had bought back nearly 4.9% of the equity. And this entire process should take at least 3 to 4 months to close from the current date. Now, to understand what should investors do, firstly let's understand what is the acceptance ratio. The acceptance ratio is how many shares the company will buy back when you apply for. Suppose a investor applies for 100 shares to be buyback. In case of Infosys, at least 5 shares will be bought back by the company. Now, this acceptance ratio will completely depend on how investors have participated in this buyback. So, assuming that all investors participate in this buyback, then at 100 per share of applied shares, only 5 shares will be bought back by the company. Now, what's in it for the retail shareholders? Now, around 15% of the total equity size or the total buyback size has been reserved for shareholders, that is close to 2,700 crore rupees. And retail shareholders are those who own shares of Infosys worth less than 2 lakh rupees. So at a price of 1,510, anyone who holds close to 132 shares will be accounted as a retail shareholders. Now, if the retail participation continues to remain on the higher side like we had seen in the previous buyback for Infosys, then the acceptance ratio is expected to be lower at around 5%. And for any investor, for any retail investor who's looking to do an arbitrage and buy Infosys shares at current market price, the actual gains for them would be on the lower side, given the fact that the acceptance ratio will be lower at 5%. So an acceptance ratio of 5% will fetch an actual gain of just 1% for any shareholder at this moment. And if the acceptance ratio increases to 10%, the gains will be 2%. And if the acceptance ratio is higher at around 50%, then too, the maximum gain for any retail shareholder who buys Infosys shares at price of 1,510 will be just 10 odd percent. However, this buyback seems to be good for those shareholders who have been holding shares of Infosys for a very long time, because they could get some handsome gains by returning those shares to the company.